Asubuhi mwati ndata mko wazima. Karibuni sana kwa UDA Comrades Town Hall Lower Eastern Session. I'd like us to go to introduce our panelists and then get into a conversation right away. On the extreme end is a comrade, Sharon Mukai from Technical University. Just wave. She will be speaking for comrades and fielding questions on that end. Then we have got Mr. Haron Kertich, NEA from the National Employment Authority. Then we have got Mr. James Maina, the National Housing. We have Professor Machuki, and a member of the Presidential Council of Economic Advisors. Then we have got the Home Girl, PS, Madam Terry Maika, PS Devolution. I have with me Madam Faith Nora Lukosi, Director Youth Fund. And then Madam Magdalene Kivi, Assistant Director, Livestock Policy, will be sitting in for the PS Livestock. Thank you very much. So, having done the introduction, we'll give each and every panelist a question. First of all, I'll start from Professor Machuki. Before we have got any conversation, it will be very important that pass the microphone for me. You can share the other one to the extreme end. Professor, we are here for students. Before we say anything, the elephant in the room is the new funding model. It's of course in court. So in 3 minutes, I'll allow you to just take us through the new funding model, why it's necessary, and why we are where we are today.
Comrades power. Comrades power. Thank you very much, Pana Moderator. The UDA Party leadership, spearheaded by the Secretary General, Mr. Omar Hassan, PS Devolution, and all protocol observed. It is a great moment to be here so that we can engage with comrades. And I sit here to make clarification that as the Council of Economic Advisors for the President, we are the think tank for the President in terms of policy processing. And as you all know, the President is a champion of transformation, and that is why he wants to change the lives of everyone through the key principle and priority in the Kenya Kwanza bottom-up economic transformation agenda, which is inclusivity. Among the aspects in society that require equity is provision of education that heralds the hallmarks of inclusivity. In that frame, within the better plan, education is earmarked as an enabler to ensure that everyone at the bottom of the economic pyramid is brought on board. At the very beginning and over time, students or children from humble backgrounds have far too long been excluded from accessing university education. Not only university education, but they have also been marginalized in the provision and access of basic education and also tertiary education. Upon analysis of the developments and policy mechanisms, as well as different programs in the education sector, for those of you who have gone through different reports that have been produced by different education commissions since independence, the issue of access, the issue of financing of education has been a thorny issue. And therefore, when the Kenya Kwanza administration took office, among the issues that were of concern was financing higher education, but most importantly within the entire realm of education reforms. And we are also aware that the Presidential Working Party on Education Reforms engaged several stakeholders in different counties and were given a number of proposals on issues around implementation of competence-based education in Kenya through the competence-based curriculum. And therefore, among the issues that were of concern was university financing. At that point, a number of universities were having issues with regard to delivery of quality education because of funding. And what came about were two things. One, in terms of offering quality education, it will boil down to the programs that are being offered and the cost that is incurred in offering those programs. Number two is with regard to access by everyone who qualifies, then the exclusion of those who are at the bottom of the economic pyramid to have access to financing. So, in assessment of the previous funding model that is commonly called the differentiated unit cost, it was established that government was required to fund 80% of that differentiated unit cost, whose arrival at the cost of offering a program was not conclusive, it was not comprehensive. The differentiated unit cost considered some parameters that will then be aggregated to come up with an average cost of offering a program and not the exact actual cost. So that averaging left out a number of aspects that will go into the exact cost of the program, which will also go into the quality of delivery of that program. For example, a student who is undertaking medicine will require different facilities, the quality of the professors, the facilities in hospitals to be able to take clinical practice and so forth and so on. Same thing to the student who is doing law, the student who is doing economics, the student who is doing Bachelor of Commerce. The programs will cost differently and also depending on the universities. Now, when that was looked at, it was then argued that it is important to come up with the exact cost of offering the program. Because government is mandated to provide public goods to its citizens, education is among the public goods that government is supposed to offer to its citizens. But most importantly, to all citizens, regardless of the social class, regardless of the economic status. On that front, therefore, it was a concern that was brought on the table, and it was also advanced by the Presidential Working Party on Education Reforms, that we need to look at how university funding can be modeled. The previous funding was a grant to universities called capitation, and it was never found out that the students who are admitted to Machakos University, for example, the number will be established, and it was combining that once a student is admitted or picked by CUSPs and is admitted through government regular program, the funding will then be gone to the university based on the number of students, but not considering the exact cost of the programs each student is taking. That is one. So, in the new funding model then, we said let not the placement be linked with funding. Because here is the university that receives capitation, because the university has a vote in treasury, and therefore you will find that every course which costs differently, it is funded at the same level, at the same rate, by way of capitation. The second aspect that we also looked at is that this funding is a differentiated unit cost, which means it doesn't take into account the exact cost. The new funding model, upon analysis, we noted that let us use a mechanism that will demonstrate the real need for a particular student in terms of determining the level of need by a way of the means testing instrument. So, what then happens is that when a student receives an admission letter from a university, the real cost of that program that you have been admitted for is indicated, and you are advised that you actually can apply for financial assistance from government. Either you apply for a loan, you can apply for scholarship, you can apply for bursary. Now, the real issue that was a concern is students from humble backgrounds and the students from backgrounds that are able will access funding the same level. So, Omar Hassan here, who comes from a well-off family, and Machuki here, who comes from a very humble background, you will be receiving same funding. That means, without looking at your economic power and your social background, that old funding model discriminates, does not give you equity, so that you both access. So the new funding model went in to start assessing the levels of need of the applicants. So on that basis, therefore, when a student receives a letter of admission, you are advised to apply. In the previous model, whether you apply or not, funding goes to the university through capitation. This new funding model, you are the one to exhibit, to demonstrate your level of need for funding. How did we come up with the determining the level of funding? That is where it's a major contention, and we used the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics data 2020, and we found out that households are classified depending on their economic annual income of a year, and we found that the lowest is 5,000 and below, and the highest is 120 and above. We used those clusters to then band students according to the annual incomes. But not only that, we then will ask students will be required to indicate particular data, particular information during their application. So when the information is received, the system then analyzes and categorizes you and places you at a particular level of need. So at the very low level is where you have very humble background, the most vulnerable. Government will give you the highest percentage of scholarship, the lowest percentage of loan, and the contribution from household is very minimal. As you graduate, as you find those who come from able families, able backgrounds, the government will still fund you according to your level of need, but will give you a higher percentage of the loan, the lower percentage of scholarship, because the loan is higher because being able, you will be able to repay. The scholarship is free, and there is what we called the bursaries that will also come along that point. But the household contribution for the higher band is also high. So, when you look at the entire rationale behind the new funding model, it's actually one, to bring on board equity in terms of access of finance, equity in terms of access to quality education, because now universities are able to fund their facilities and equipment for those programs that require extra equipment to provide those programs. So, at the very broad policy level, the rationale was to ensure that university education is fully funded, adequately, not fully, but adequately funded, regardless of the source of the funding. Government takes a bigger chunk, but households will take a proportion that is concomitant with your economic power.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I allowed the professor to run all that because that is where we start, because it's about you, the comrades. Comrades power. Power. Comrades power. Now, very quickly, I'll be bringing in my co-moderator, Gitonga, to ask a question to the PAs. But before he does that, I'd like just to acknowledge a few people who are here. I have got the Secretary General of the party. He will also be helping me field questions later on. Tafadhali simama tu. Niruhusu tu this time ni introduce. He is around. Also in the house, we have got the Executive Director, Mr. Bore. He will also be saying hi to you guys later on. We have got a Deputy Director, Higgins Mbugu, around here. We have got a Director of Public Communication from the Office of the Government Spokesperson. He will be fielding questions for you guys later on. I have got with me here the President of the Comrades UDA chapter. Brian, please stand up. Wasituulize tuko na ghost worker. You are here, you will be here dealing with that. And there are so many other waheshimiwa around. I'll be coming back to you, they'll deal with you. I've taken that bit so that then you understand that we are full house. Then it's important when you go to people's homes to actually recognize them. We have got the UDA Finance Director here. Unajua nisiposema hiyo labda sitalipwa. So, Mlili, tafadhali, salimiana. Then the man who actually makes these programs run is Director Kipto, Daniel Kipto, wherever you are. My eyes are missing you out. Tafadhali simama. Pigia yeye makofi pale. Then we've got a number of UDA staff around here. Hao wote watahakikisha tuende vizuri. Gitonga, please take care of the PS here.
Thank you, sir. I just want to pose a direct one to the PS, Madam Terry. What is the place of these comrades in devolution? Do we as comrades have a place in devolution?
Thank you very much, Gitonga, SG and team, and the comrades from this region. Good morning. Good morning once again. I must say something about what my friend Machuki here has been talking about. And this is in regards to the funding model. The reason you are here, it's not because of yourself. You are the ambassador going forward to the many of our young people in the universities who have not gotten an opportunity to listen to this kind of a conversation. So it is not for you to keep this information, and I think we'll be having an opportunity to post questions, maybe for clarity, for more information, so that we take this back home. We have been around and we have had many questions, young people trying to ask. Number two is on the question by Gitonga, the space of the young people in devolution. All the government, let me start by saying the 2010 Constitution gave us a devolved system of government. And this involves taking powers and resources to the lowest of the people. And that is why we have our 47 counties. And everybody in this republic is coming from a county. So what opportunities are there for the young people? Just to start you off, all the government initiatives and programs happening are being implemented at the county level. So we don't work in isolation as national, as county government. And one of the roles of this State Department, rather the ministry then, is to enable proper intergovernmental relations. The two levels of government working together harmoniously. Number two is for the national government, is the role or mandate of the national government to build capacities for our county government. And the other one is on policy on devolved system of government. And that is exactly what we do each and every other time. The youth, because the conversation we are having now is the young people who are giving us the direction. There is a lot, you have the energy, you have the brains, you have a lot of space. Only if we explore local economic and job creation. Look at the agriculture, which is one of our key priority areas as a government, as an administration. The counties are developing the aggregation centers, the KIPES. If you have been able to follow what the government is doing, because we perish because we lack information. What do we go out of our way to know what opportunities are there in this government? We have cheap financing for startups. What have you done? Have you gone out of your way as a young person? The digital space. That is where we are as young people. Have we explored what is there? I've seen the president, we are aware. We were here in Machakos. Some young people in a technical institution here making a lot of money out of the digital space. What are we doing? Are we just doing a lot of politics with our phones, with the little bundles we have? Are we looking, when the president talks about the digital economy? Because, just to be clear to you and specific to you, nobody is going to do it for you. you will have to be there to do it yourself. What government is doing is facilitating you. That is why one of the main things this government is doing is ensuring that even at the local levels, we have connectivity. Maybe we are not 100% there, but this is work in progress. The digital hubs, the public Wi-Fi, the fiber connectivity. What are the young people using this for? I know we like politics, which is good. I'm a politician on my other side. But then, what does it bring on the table, Gitonga? Some people, I tell my people of Kaiti, you're talking about Terry from morning to evening. I actually do not get time to go through the charts, all of them. That is a very great opportunity for you to use to see what then can I use this space better, rather than singing that praise of Terry. I like it, you know. We love it when you people do that. But those are the spaces we have that we can use to grow ourselves and as young people. The space around education and skills development. Every county, the government is in the process of ensuring the TVET institution is the in thing, giving skills to the young people. It is a fact which we never want to hear. All of them will not be in these white-collar jobs. What are we doing to be the employer that you are looking for to be employed? You are that person who can get another person a job. Why? Because you have gotten the skill and you need 2-3 people to help you grow your small business, to grow yourself, to be that employer you have been looking for. And the environment has been created for you. And this is not happening just at the national. The counties are doing exactly this. The devolution of power and resources. So the counties are offering a lot of resources, a lot of opportunities for young people, but only for those who leave the crowd and go looking for it. Are we together? So it is us who have gotten this opportunity to be in school, to be a graduate, to get opportunity for those who have not. And that is why even the new funding model is coming in place. Why? Because it's a very small percentage which have been able to get an opportunity to be in school, to learn, and get where we are. And those others who have not, the hustlers now, the real hustlers, are looking up to us, those who have gotten the opportunity to get them opportunities also. So we need to work closely with our county government, participate in governance issues, public participation. What are we doing? Trainings on governance.
Not really. You think it's a technical challenge? Yeah. You can use another mic.
So I know I've said a lot, but let me just conclude by saying the other thing we need to look, which is very personal, is basically on our mental health. And I think it's a conversation which has not been focused and is affecting a lot of our young people. So we honestly need to be nice to ourselves. Drugs and substance abuse, of what benefit is it? Parents are struggling so hard for you to be where you are, because I think this is a forum for comrades, university students. Drug abuse is rampant in our institutions. This is very personal, my friend, because nobody is going to give you whatever you smoke or whatever you inject yourself or what you do to them. But what is the future? What do you want out of it? So we need to be very clear, and this is a conversation around the universal health, Mental health is at the center of it. And for the sake of you, your family, your parents, and your family to come, take care of your mental health. Let's talk. Let's find a friend. Find somebody who can guide you, can talk to you, so that you don't find yourself in a situation you cannot reverse. Because it is happening in a big way, but it starts with the small things we take for granted. Peer pressure. Your friend is smoking weed, and you say, I want to try. Nasikia uko high, kesho unaongeza ya pili. So let us take care of ourselves. Let us have groupings where we talk. Because life is never easy. Even for the people you think they are doing very well, they are struggling. And then structures, just to digress, during the Gen Z protest, we said we are formless, we are leaderless. That is not the way to go, and especially for the people I meet, the young people, we must be structured. If we were structured maybe during that time, today we'll be talking of a different conversation, because we know how to engage. I'm happy, Gitonga, I saw you in KICC when the president was meeting the comrades also. We need to be structured so that we have a way of communicating. So thank you very much. The counties are there for you, 47 of them. Here we have 3, Makueni, Kitui, and Machakos. Let us knock those doors. What do you think you can do? As a department, we have also resource mobilized. We are implementing a program of World Bank, $150 million to capacity build, to improve on service delivery and accountability. So don't participate because you are paid 500 shillings to be in a public participation forum. Participate because you want to add value. You have some input, because the next conversation around our development, around leadership, it will be shaped by the young people of this country. Thank you very much, and God bless you.
Thank you very much. Panelists, we have got about 40 minutes, and then we go to taking questions. I'd love you to use the next minutes prudently. Sharon, in Kenya Kwanza and at UDA, we know and we appreciate the fact that we might not always prepare the future for young people, but we can prepare our young people for the future. As a young woman in leadership, what would you really love government and people in authority to do for you so that you are able to thrive and come to bear fruits?
Okay. Thank you for this opportunity. First of all, I'll appreciate the fact that the government is giving the young women a chance to be able to express themselves and speak out, and also inclusivity, like the fact that we have Terry Mbaika, who is the PS for Devolution, and the chair for UDA, who is Cecily Mbarire, governor of Meru, shows that the government at least cares. Yes, we face some challenges getting there, like bullying, mostly the online bullying. I'd like the government to do something about it. I really don't know what, but I feel like there is something they can always do. There is something they can always do. Yeah, because that is one of the challenges that the women in leadership face.
Thank you very much. You are very brief. You are just worried about bullying?
Yes, but I'd like to encourage the young women here and also the ones who are viewing in the televisions to take up these spaces and to express themselves. Yes, there are challenges, but it's worth it. It's worth it in the end. And I'd like to encourage each and every one of us who is here to not shy away from expressing ourselves, because this government is a listening government, and it's only through dialogue that our needs will be heard and it will take action.
Thank you very much, Sharon. And the government is a listening government, and I believe that we should also reciprocate by listening. There exists a lot of opportunities We've just been told of 150 million US dollars. Some of it in Sheng we call it Jabba, but there's something called Youth Fund. No, it actually exists, but due to the fact that as youth sometimes we probably throw the baby with the bathwater, we do not get the opportunity to benefit from this. And so the Youth Fund, there is the Youth Fund. We would like to explain to us as Congress how we can access the Youth Fund and how the terms and conditions thereof of the Youth Fund, and actually tell us if it's something that exists so that the comrades may be happy.
Comrade Power. So, the Kenya Kwanza government is very deliberate on financial inclusion and access to credit facilities for young people, to support young people in commercializing their ideas and transforming themselves from job seekers to job creators. As you can see, there is a very big challenge of unemployment in the country, and we are looking at young people being the innovators, the idea creators, the challengers of the status quo as the solution to this challenge of unemployment in the country. So, Youth Fund is a state agency under the Ministry of Youth Affairs, Sports and Creative Economy that has the sole mandate of supporting youth enterprises. We support youth enterprise development with affordable credit facilities, with training, market linkages, and mentorship support. So in terms of affordable credit facilities, we have individual and group loans for young people. In terms of group loans, all we need is a registered group and a bank account. And I want to tell you for a fact before I proceed, Youth Fund, few stories Ajaba. Gitonga has asked me to clarify on that. Youth Fund exists. Here in Machakos, we are just here next to Semara Hotel. I'm happy that the venue favors our office. Our office is just next to Semara Hotel. When you leave outside on the right-hand side, you will see Youth Fund offices, and I'm accompanied here by the credit officer of Youth Fund, Machakos County. He's called Maurice Muia. I've brought him here specifically because I want us to have an impactful conversation. After this, you can pick up further communication with him on issues that I will not have addressed. So with group loans, all you need is to just have that group and a bank account. Come with your business proposal, then we will fund you. And once you get the money, we give up to 100,000 for the first loan. Once you get the money, I know the question is, how can I manage my business while I'm still in the university? You don't have to be the ones running that business. Muia was sharing with me there are some youths who formed a group and they have started a business, a tuk-tuk business. Youth Fund has funded them tuk-tuks that are running here in Machakos. So you don't have to be the ones running that business. We give you that money, then you are able to get someone you hire, you can supervise during your free time, but you continue with your studies. You get something to sustain you while you are studying, while you are running a business, and also creating job opportunities for other young people. So you don't need collateral with group loans. Then we have individual loans. Individual loans, you can take up to 2 million the first time, and with this you need security. You can actually get a security from another person. If you don't have, you can get security. You can use your parents' collateral. So you can take up to 2 million. And the beauty with our loans, both group and individual loans, is that the interest is very low. For group loans, they don't attract any interest, it is zero. I'm sure most of you have interacted with most fintech companies that are issuing loans, even the banks. And you know that they are very exorbitant interest rates. But with the youth fund, the group loans have zero interest. The individual loans attract 8% interest, which is still the lowest in the market. And also, our group loans graduate up to 3 times. Once you have taken the first time and you have repaid, that loan can graduate up to 3 times. You take 100,000, next time you can take 300,000. The third time you can take 900,000. So it keeps graduating depending with your credit history. In addition to affordable credit facilities, we also offer business development. We know most of you might have ideas, but you don't know how to actualize that idea, how to put it down into a business plan. So we help you. We have training for those who want to take up our loans. Even if you just have an idea, don't shy away from coming to our office. We will help you in putting that idea into a business plan, then we can fund it. So we do business development support. And in terms of business development support, we also offer market linkages. For those who have taken our loans, once your product is ready for the market, we can also help you to get the market for those products. Then we also have LPO financing. We realize that there is a law for AGPO which requires 30% of tenders to be reserved for young people, women and people with disability. But it has always been a challenge for these special interest groups to participate actively and meaningfully in the tendering processes. So for us at Youth Fund, we support young people who want to take part in government tenders by financing up to 70% of the LPO. And if you are wondering how you can get the government tenders, first you need to have a registered business. You can register this business on your own. You don't have to get a lawyer to help you register. You can go to eCitizen and then you register your business either as a business name or as a company. And once you have a certificate, you visit the next Huduma Center, you get your AGPO certificate. Once you have the AGPO certificate and the registration certificate for your business, you can approach the area MP, MCA, or the county department. And as I told you, all these offices have a threshold to meet of 30% in tendering. And they don't meet because there are no youths who go there to get these opportunities. So once you have your documentation, go to the office. I'm sure because the SC is here and he is very close to Honorable Caleb Mule, I know you can help the comrades here who would like to supply some of the NCGDF to the NCGDF project, and we can support them with the LPO financing. Then we also have asset financing for those who want to get an asset. You want to purchase an asset, like tuk-tuks, the example that I gave, or you want to set up containers to let to other people. If you want to purchase any asset, we also do asset financing up to 70%. Then in terms of labor export, I know that it is an issue now. It is an issue that is it's very contemporary. Currently, there are young people who are applying. They are being recruited to go to Qatar. As Youth Fund, we support. We understand that the government's main priority is to create jobs locally. But if the jobs are also available externally, and young people are interested to go there, Youth Fund supports up to 300,000 Kenyan shillings to the young person so that they can work on all the documentation that they need to go and work abroad. We also do pre-departure training for the young people who want to go and work abroad and they have gotten an opportunity.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's clap for her. I'd love to move very fast to James Maina, Mr. James Maina, Director National Housing. And I'd love us to be surgical. I'd love you to tell these comrades what opportunities exist in the affordable housing program. Just specifically, I know, we do not know whether it is Seneca or who said that it's the older who advise the young. Allow me to actually just ask specifically the opportunities that exist for comrades in the housing program.
Comrades Power. Thank you. I'm Director Housing in the State Department for Housing, not National Housing. So I would like to correct that. However, let me say that the affordable housing program is not something that has been born out of the blues. It's a program that has come through many years and of course within the development of our country. Okay. First and foremost, let me start by saying the future is urban. There are no two ways. Data available with us locally, internationally, indicates that not only Kenya but all the world, we are going to be living in urban areas. Of course, Kenya, we are behind compared to the rest of the world, but we have one of the most urbanizing trends worldwide. And it is expected by 2050, 50% of our population will now be living in urban areas. However, the most critical thing is that when our people come to urban areas and those who are born, they don't live in adequate housing. They live probably in formal settlements or what we normally call slums. To the extent that almost over 50% of our population in urban areas are living in slums. And this is what was seen by Kenyans when they went to vote for the new constitution in 2010. And they created Article 43 that makes housing a right and obligates government to provide adequate housing and ensure every Kenyan, every citizen has access to adequate housing. And of course, to localize this agenda, in 2024 March, Parliament and President assented to the Affordable Housing Act. And the Affordable Housing Act now is the act that gives us the mandate to provide housing for Kenyans. And this program of affordable housing is an ambitious, transformative as well as very revolutionary, because it not only aims to provide housing, but the challenge of that housing is an opportunity to create other opportunistic other opportunistic benefits that goes together with housing. And one of the major one is job creation. Let me say, the shortage of housing to date, over the cumulative years that the government has not been working on housing from 1992. From 1992, there was introduction of something was called structural adjustment policy. And they said, World Bank, IMF, told us, government has no business in investing in housing. What did we lose? We lost jobs, we lost manufacturing, and we lost cumulative development of adequate housing and reasonable housing as contained in our constitution. And we have 2 million houses, almost 1.8 to be exact, that has been cumulative. The private sector was left to develop housing. The private sector has only been developing 50,000 houses. And out of 50,000 houses, only 1,000 units are affordable. I pause there. The demand is 250,000 every year. So what is the shortfall? Very simple mathematics, 200,000. And this is where the opportunity lies. And this is also where the challenge lies. The challenge lies in the provision of affordable housing, 200 units every year. And the opportunity lies, if you develop 200,000 housing every year, what are the opportunities that are you likely to get? What are the number of jobs that are you likely to create? And it's very simple arithmetic. Direct jobs, 3 to 5. Indirect jobs, 10 to 15. Arithmetically tells you this is what can be done. It means 200,000 multiplied by 10, you can create 2 million jobs if you achieve that. And this is what the government intends, and this is what the government is currently doing through the affordable housing program. And it has created a fund through a levy of 1.5% through income and through salaries to the individuals, employees, individual citizens, as well as 1.5 to the employers. And that creates a capital fund that can be available now to fund housing. And it is kept very well through the Affordable Housing Board. And that money, once it is collected, goes directly to the fund, and it is only set aside to be used for affordable housing. And what is this affordable housing all about? The affordable housing is for the provision of affordable housing, institutional housing, and association, social and physical infrastructure. Let me first of all go to the institutional housing. The institutional housing covers Section 2 of this Act, defines what institutional housings are. Institutional housing includes 1, student accommodation. 2, housing for civil servants, housing for police, and housing for prisons, and housing for our defense. If you look at that category I've mentioned, the students' population currently, which is almost 1 million, the university student is 462,000 enrollment by last year's data. TVET, TTI, TVCs is allowed 408,000, again on the same data. And out of this data, and you tell me if I'm wrong, only a small percentage is accommodated within the university premises. One example we have is the University of Nairobi. It has a student population of 50,000. And out of 50,000, only 10,000 are accommodated within the university. And what is the resultant factor? I know you are the wearer of the shoe and you know where it pinches most. They are either accommodated at cheap housing that are not conducive for learning, that are insecure, or probably very expensive. When we went to do public participation for Affordable Housing Act, I was lucky I was heading the team that was in Machakos here, in Machakos Social Hall. One thing the parents told us, we will accept this affordable housing program if you accommodate construction and development of student hostels, because our students, our children, we are spending too much money to pay fees, but also to accommodate them in school. And we are always not secure where they are living. And that's what we did, and we told Parliament, let's accommodate institutional housing as well as student accommodation. And what have we achieved so far? So far we have put in our budget 180 TVCs across the countries, 182 to be precise. And we have put 46 universities in our budget. We have started this development. We have started in TUK, where we are doing 2,000 hostels. We have started in Ebu, and we'll be here in KMTC and the Machakos University. In terms of housing, currently we have been able to achieve 124,000 houses under construction. And within these 120,000 houses under construction, we have created jobs that were not there, more than 160,000 jobs which have been created. We hope once this program is clear of taken, we'll be able to create 1 million jobs. But to you as students, there is some direct benefits, and they are in two forms. Number one is internship. For us, you know, every time you apply for a job after leaving school, and it's not you who have faced it, it is even us when we left school. The first job you find, 10 years experience, 5 years experience, and the biggest question that everyone has been asking, and even as we ask the same question. Now me, I'm just fresh from school. Where am I expected to get a job, to get experience? I will need a job to get that experience. And this is what we are offering. Within the affordable housing program, in all our construction sites, we are taking student internship and attachments.
Mr. Director, thank you. I believe that they are quite, the comrades are just imbibing the wisdom that you have been spilling. And still on the same point, on the opportunities of comrades, probably I would want to digress it a bit to Madam Magdalene Kithi. And I visited Samburu some time back, and I saw a beautiful girl somewhere. And you know, in Samburu they pay dowry using livestock. So sorry for deviating, but what opportunities exist for comrades in the livestock industry? We have been told of the opportunities of internship that will be provided in the national construction, in the continuing of the building of the affordable houses. But for livestock, what opportunities exist for us comrades, and how can we benefit from the livestock industry? This is just for the old schools, or is it something that the comrades, even those of us who are doing financial engineering and not veterinary medicine, can benefit?
Thank you very much. Good morning, comrades. I'm happy to be here comrade from Lower Eastern. My immediate job was dealing with students, so I am very passionate about students, and I'm happy that you have this forum to learn. Now, I'm from the 6th department. I'm in the 6th department.
Please put off the rest of the mics so that they can
Yes, the State Department for Livestock Development, is in the Ministry of Agriculture. And as you all very well know, that agriculture is the mainstay of our economy. And it is not only the mainstay of our economy, but without it, we cannot be as shiny as you are. I'm sure you have, when we have our food on the table, it is not balanced. We don't feel happy when there is as the young people, maybe you are asking me, what can we do in the livestock sector? You don't have shambas. Maybe it's your parents that have tracts of land where you can keep animals. But there is a lot that the young people, you can do. You can invest in livestock production. You can get income. You can contribute in the GDP of our country. So there are enterprises in the livestock sector that do not require large tracts of land and that you can endeavor in. And as I said, agriculture together with the livestock contributes to a little over 12% of the economy. And it is one of the government flagships to achieve Vision 2030 through the better economic agenda. I'm sure you all know, we are aware of the bottom-up economic agenda. So in the livestock sector, we have the key projects that the government is promoting or is working hard at achieving. We have the dairy sector, we have the beef sector, and then we have the leather development, okay? Leather from hides and skins that we get from animals, okay? So there is so much that you can do. On top of that, there is a lot of demand locally and internationally for livestock products, okay? The country is exporting meat to the Arab countries and other countries. So even in the local, or rather in the country, there is a lot of demand. For example, there is demand for chicken, yeah, especially indigenous chicken. The government has come in to promote the germplasm, the genetics, improved genetics of most of the livestock enterprises. And so when you venture into, or you want to venture into enterprises that are related to livestock, you can always get improved germplasm so that you can have a profitable venture. So as I said, for the young guys, you don't say that you don't have a shamba.